I never imagined my life would unravel like this. It started as an ordinary day. I was cleaning out the attic, sorting through old boxes, looking for a family photo album, when I stumbled upon a small leather-bound book hidden in an old shoebox. Its corners were worn, the pages slightly yellowed. I didn't realize what it was at first, but as I flipped it open, I was hit with a jolt of recognition. It was my wife's handwriting. Curiosity got the better of me, and I began to read. The first few pages were innocent enough, memories from our vacations, small notes on her daily life, little things she wanted to remember. Then, suddenly, the tone shifted. I noticed an entry titled Him. Confused, I read on, and that's when the reality of what I was holding hit me. This was her diary, and in it she had documented her affair. Each line, each word cut deeper than the last. She wrote about her feelings of excitement, the thrill of sneaking around, and even details of their encounters. There was no attempt to disguise what she was doing, no remorse or shame. It was as if she were simply recounting a series of events, but those events painted a picture of my life shattering around me. The words on the page were a confession, a raw recounting of her betrayal, and every new detail twisted the knife further. I sat there in the attic, numb, the diary heavy in my hands. My mind raced through the years of our marriage, searching for clues, signs I might have missed. Had I been so blind? Or had I chosen to look the other way, convinced that our marriage was as strong as I believed? In her entries, she mentioned feeling neglected, unloved. She wrote about how I had been too focused on my work, too distracted to notice her anymore. She said that she missed feeling desired, feeling alive. I could see hints of truth in her words. The last few years had been hard. Work had consumed so much of my time, and in my pursuit to provide the best life for us, I'd forgotten the little things that made us us. I'd taken our relationship for granted, believing that the vows we took would sustain us, no matter what. But it was painfully clear that those vows hadn't been enough for her. Still, nothing could justify what she'd done. Nothing could erase the words I had just read. The entries detailing moments she had shared with someone else, moments that were supposed to belong to me. The anger surged up, mingling with heartbreak and regret. How could she do this? How could she look me in the eyes every day and hide such a monumental lie? For the next few days, I found myself going back to that diary, reading more of her entries, each time hoping to find something that would make sense of it all, some explanation that would lessen the sting. I read about their meetings, the little gifts he gave her, the late-night phone calls. It was like an alternate reality, a world she had built outside of our marriage. I tried to understand her, to forgive her, even to blame myself entirely. But every time I thought I'd reached a sense of peace, another entry would tear me apart. I had to make a decision. Either I could confront her, let her know I knew everything, or I could let this poison eat away at me from the inside. Eventually, I decided to confront her. One evening, after dinner, I took out the diary and placed it on the table in front of her. She looked at it, then at me, and I could see the blood drain from her face. She didn't deny it. She didn't try to make excuses. She just sat there, stunned, realizing the extent of the hurt she had caused. Over the next few hours, we talked. Really talked, in a way we hadn't in years. She explained how the affair had begun, how it had filled a void she felt within herself. She spoke of her loneliness, of the anger she had harbored for my absence, my seeming indifference. She said she hadn't meant for it to go so far, but by the time she realized, it was already out of her control. We were both left raw, broken, sitting in silence as the reality of what we'd both done to each other set in. I knew there was no easy way forward from here. I had a choice to make, and none of the options felt right. Part of me wanted to walk away, to leave the shattered remains of our marriage behind and start anew, but another part of me, the part that remembered the love we once shared, wanted to fight for what we had. After days of sleepless nights, I decided to stay and try to rebuild. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a chance. I made a vow to be more present, to rekindle the connection we once had, while she committed to rebuilding my trust. It was slow and at times unbearably painful, but we both understood that healing would take time. To anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation, my advice is this: don't let complacency destroy what you've built. Nurture your relationship, communicate openly, and never take each other for granted. If you ever find yourself stumbling upon a painful truth like I did, remember that healing is possible, but it requires commitment, understanding, and a willingness to face the uncomfortable truths. Subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comment that what would you do if you discovered something like this? How would you approach rebuilding a marriage after such a betrayal? I'd love to hear your thoughts and any advice you have for others going through similar situations. Have a good life.